Good evening, I'm Dick Brennan. In the next hour, the Rent Guidelines Board will meet to vote on rate hikes for New Yorkers living in rent-stabilized apartments. And tonight, tenants are pushing back. Let's get out live to Derick on the Upper East Side. Derick.
And Dick, right now we're standing on 5th Avenue outside El Museo del Barrio here near 104th Street. And behind me, you see there's a pretty large crowd of people who live in rent-stabilized apartments, and they are rallying ahead of that vote tonight. I can tell you they're calling on the board to adopt the smallest increases, especially after last week's primary result, where the candidate who made much of his campaign about freezing the rent won. Now, earlier this spring, the Rent Guidelines Board held a preliminary vote where they agreed to rent increases of between 1.75% and 4.75% on one-year leases and between 3.75% and 7.75% for two-year leases. Tonight, they will choose something within those ranges. Landlords say they should not have to eat the cost of rising costs for maintenance, insurance, and taxes. But tenants I spoke to this afternoon say neither should they.
I've been in my building for 16 years. What happened to the money that they got from me, from my rent? What happened to the money? What did they do? Did they went on vacation? Did they went buying all the buildings?
Operating expenses are rising. Rents have to rise to meet those increased expenses, or else you're defunding the buildings. And defunded buildings lead to distressed buildings, which leads to a reduction in the quality of housing.
So the mayor actually appoints the 9-member board, and this has become a major issue in the mayor's race, with State Assemblyman Zohran Mamdani cruising to a surprise victory in the Democratic primary last week on promises to freeze the rent for the entirety of his term. Now, Mayor Eric Adams has sympathized with the plight of landlords, but today in a statement he said in part he is urging the board to adopt the lowest increases possible, and that he hopes they will come to a resolution that balances affordability with protecting the quality of housing for millions of New Yorkers who live in a rent-stabilized home. And again, back out here live, you see this large group out here, a lot of people with signs that say freeze the rent. That is actually not possible this go-around, because legally the board has to choose between that range that they already agreed on earlier this spring. So that's really something to discuss next year if Mamdani, of course, wins the election. And, that meeting starts at 7 o'clock tonight. If this is any indication, it should be pretty lively inside. Reporting live here on the Upper East Side, Derick Waller, CBS News, New York.
Certainly looks that way, Derick. Thanks very much. We've been following the rent increases and the impact on tenants. You can find all of our reporting at cbsnewyork.com.